Hey everybody, it's Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. Welcome to the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast, where we have thoughts on quarterbacks. It's me, your man, MG Marcus Grant, joined by Michael F. Florio and Laquan Jones. Happy Wednesday? I was trying to come up with something clever. It's Wednesday. Like, there's no, I guess there's football tomorrow,
MG
right?
doesn't have nothing for the intro? What?
I mean, I had the quarterback thoughts, but I didn't have any clever question to ask you all today.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, y'all.
Happy Wednesday, everyone.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to the show. We got stuff to talk about. We're going to continue our look at mid-round guys that we like. On Monday, we did rounds 5 through 8. Today, we'll do rounds 9 through 12. On Thursday or Friday. I still haven't figured out what day are we releasing the show. Is it Friday? I think we're releasing it on Friday.
I think Friday.
It's a Friday. Vibes.
Unless we tell you it's Thursday.
Look, just subscribe to the show and it shows up in your feed. How about that? Either way, we're doing 13 through 16. That's the point. I was going to talk about the Dolphins because weird stuff is happening in Miami. You know, strange things are afoot at the Circle K. So we'll talk about that a little bit. We're also planning to have Cam Wolfe come on the show later this week. He's very close, covering that team down there. He's also handling the Jaguars, a lot of the teams kind of in that region of the country. So we'll pick his brain about some of the things happening there. But I want to start with some news because, as the intro may have suggested, there's news about quarterbacks. Things are happening. Decisions are being made. A couple of big ones. I have no idea what you're pointing at, Laquan. I can't even see that. What is that?
That's a picture of Daniel Jones. He's
Yeah,
there.
I can't see that from there. Oh,
why would you have that?
Why in the world do you have that?
I don't know. I just woke up this morning and he just popped up and he was there. I don't know.
You live a very strange life. To your
Let's
point,
get into
though,
some Daniel Jones, man.
To your point, Daniel Jones is now QB1 in Indianapolis. Joe Flacco, I think we mentioned this on Monday's show because I think that's when it came out, but Joe Flacco has been named the Browns starter, to the surprise, I think, of pretty much no
I don't
one.
care about the Browns at all. I have so many thoughts on the Colts.
I was going to say, first I was going to ask, first I'll start with Laquan and then we will get to you because I just want to give you some runway to say what you got to say. But LQ, you have been, I guess, stumping for Daniel Jones in your own way. Are you happy now? Does this make you feel better?
Like, I'm not happy that he's the starter, but I'm happy about my Colts pass catchers. I'll tell you about that because none of these guys are going within the first 100 picks in drafts. So you're getting value on Tyler Warren, who is my tight end 6, Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, A.D. Mitchell. I mean, guys that we were hoping to break out. And all the Colts need right now is a quarterback to complete the passes. That's really the main focus here because honestly, when you look at Daniel Jones, there isn't a season he has under 60%. And we all know that low percentage under 50% that Anthony Richardson had last season, even though he improved this season. But in the preseason, he didn't do much that separated him and Daniel Jones. So I'm just more so cheering that I'm going to be able to grab the value on a Josh Downs where you look at Daniel Jones where, look, you can say he's the upgraded Wan'Dale Robinson because last year in 2024, Wan'Dale Robinson averaged 10 fantasy points per game with Daniel Jones. And I do know that's not great, but Josh Downs is the upgrade where I think he could be a solid high-end wide receiver too when that hammy gets back together. So obviously, I do think it's Tyler Warren or bust, and I think there's going to be a huge impact in the tight end market because I definitely think Tyler Warren's going to have a Brock Bowers or a Trey McBride season.
I definitely am down with the Tyler Warren portion of that. What makes me nervous about the rest of them, Daniel Jones has a career air yards per attempt of 7.1.
Yeah.
That ain't very far.
It's why his completion percentage is what it is. Because if you are throwing 5 yards at, like the last 2 years, it's less than that. It's lower than 6 per. Like if you're throwing it from here to there, you better have a high completion percentage. Like he has no downfield capability. My thoughts on this are, and look, for everything LQ said is accurate. For a fantasy standpoint, I do think, especially Josh Downs gets a big boost here. I don't think Michael Pittman gets as big of one because Daniel Jones can't throw it outside the numbers. To me, I came away thinking one of two things with this. Either Steichen wasn't on board when they drafted Anthony Richardson, and it was like the late, great Jim Irsay in his ear or something like that. Mm-hmm. or Shane Steichen, who when they drafted him was like, he needs reps, he needs development. Having him on the football field is how we will make him better. Shane Steichen is admitting, I cannot coach and develop this guy. And if that is the case, it's all on you now, bro. You chose Daniel Jones. You need to go on a run. You need to make the playoffs, in my opinion. If the Colts have like a Gardner Minshew-esque season and you punt on a guy that is 23 years old, who 2 years ago was the 4th overall, who you took as the 4th overall pick, I think we're looking at a world next year where none of these guys are with the Colts. No Jones, no Richardson, no Steichen. Like, I don't know. To me, punting on a guy this young and just being like, we're not starting him at all this year is crazy to me.
This is because I think there's similarities between the Colts going with Daniel Jones and the Browns going with Joe Flacco, in the sense that neither one of these teams are serious contenders for anything. And so what is the end game here? Is it just to squeak into the playoffs? Because I don't even know if the Browns are that good to get into the playoffs right now. So why wouldn't you start your young guys, let them develop and see what you have there? The only thing I can really surmise is that it's just self-preservation on the part of the head coaches, whether it's Shane Steichen, whether it's Kevin Stefanski. It's, let's just be good enough that I can stick around here, and then maybe we can start developing young guys.
Which I could see, and if that's the case, I'm not even going to put this all on Steichen. It's a full franchise malpractice, I think, because Daniel Jones' absolute best season, he won a fluky 9 games and snuck into the playoffs. He threw for 3,000 yards and 15 touchdowns. Like, I think you should be like, we need to see if we wasted that 4th overall pick or not and what we could get out of him. So we're going to give you the year with Anthony Richardson. We are not going to judge you solely based on wins and losses, because we know with a developmental quarterback, there's going to be ups and downs. But can you make Anthony Richardson into what we think he can be? And if you can't, then we know we don't have our answer at quarterback and we need to move on. If you're going with Daniel Jones now because you think you're going to get some more wins, like, are you going to win enough games to preserve your job? To me, I'm always a believer that developing a young quarterback is a better way of saving your gig than winning 8 or 9 games.
So, all that being said, are you more likely to draft a Colts pass catcher now?
I was in on Tyler Warren regardless. Like, I'm considering, I have him at tight end 6, considering pushing him up to tight end 5. But he was, I think, the one that I moved the most was Josh Downs. Like, Josh Downs was way buried in my rankings. Now he's in my top 40. I have Michael Pittman just outside of that. I do think I agree with LQ. Like, Downs is a big winner here. I think Jonathan Taylor gains a little bit because Jones will be more likely to dump it off than Richardson was. So those pieces from a fantasy standpoint, I could see it spun into a positive thing. But Patrick Claybon brought this up on Fantasy Live. 32 quarterbacks start in the NFL. In the last couple of years, Daniel Jones is 48th in deep ball completions. So you're not going to get big plays. You're going to get dinks and dunks down the field.
Would you like to respond?
I mean, did he have any reason? Did he have any reason in New York to throw downfield? I mean, Malik Neighbors was that reason, but the scheme was just awful. The offensive line, awful. No time to really even get back and bouncing back from injury the year prior. I do think Daniel Jones in Superflex leagues, he's appealing. QB3. Redraft leagues, put him on your watch list. But I do think that I'm going to be rooting for Daniel Jones because I have so much shares of these Colts wide receivers. So I do think we need to just take a step back, let the Colts cook for a second. It may be cooked and burnt at the end of the season, but hey, let them cook real quick and let's see what folds out.
Let me just pick out something you just said there, right? You said Daniel Jones is appealing, Superflex leagues, QB3. Yeah. He's not that appealing if he's a QB3. And he's your third quarterback.
Yes, he is. We got folks out here still drafting Patrick Mahomes as if he is that fantasy guy as the QB1. We got people out here drafting Justin Fields where, we want that top 5 ceiling, but there is some risk there.
There's no world where those two guys and Daniel Jones are similar.
Did I hit my head? Are you saying you'd rather have Daniel Jones over Patrick Mahomes and Justin Fields?
Heavens no. Hold up. Pause. Listen to me. Tap in real quick. What I'm saying is if you go out there and you spend that high price on a Baker Mayfield who's going way higher than he should be, or if you go out there and you get a Justin Fields or a Patrick Mahomes or even a Justin Herbert where Daniel Jones has more playoff wins than Justin Herbert, by the way.
But that does nothing for me in fantasy. That does absolutely zero for me in fantasy.
as insurance, I want a mobile quarterback with a quantity upgrade at wide receivers as his pass catchers versus what he had in New York. At least we have an offensive line that I think he can operate behind and dink and dunk. I just want my pass catchers that has that Colts uniform be able to have some good fantasy finishes on Sunday.
Which is fine. You lost me at the quarterback comparisons because like Justin Fields could run for 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns this year. Daniel Jones has 1 year where he was an effective runner, and since then he's blown out his knee.
And even then, like his one good year was pretty.
What Shane Steichen say yesterday? That 2022 season, he sounded like he's listening to the pod talking like
someone like we all were alive and living and breathing that season. Like it was super fluky by the Giants. Like they started off really hot with a very favorable schedule and then almost didn't make the playoffs. Like, and then yes, they beat the Vikings. They got their doors blown off the next week it wasn't even competitive at halftime. So I don't know. Daniel Jones is going to throw it down. He can move, but he's not really a great runner. I personally see the case you can make in a super flex. I think that is the only place where Daniel Jones is fantasy relevant.
Yeah, I don't know. It all feels super mid to me.
The Joneses got to stick together though. So.
I guess I get it, man.
Let's go.
So imagine if he was a Jones from New Jersey. LQ would.
I mean, he played in Jersey. He probably lived in Jersey when he played with the Giants.
Yeah, true. He'd probably be the 1.01.
Hey, bring Mac Jones this way.
Man, you want Michael McCorkle? You can knock yourself out.
I don't know who that is.
Michael McCorkle Jones?
No, who is that?
Mac Jones.
Oh, that I did not know that was his real government name.
His first name is Michael. His middle name is McCorkle, which is where the Mac comes from. Jones.
What's Debo's real name again?
Tyshun Raekwon Samuel.
All right.
Mac is one of those dudes though that if his name was Mike Jones or Michael Jones, no one's taking him in the first round of NFL draft. Like Mac really the cool name theory, I'm a big believer in it.
That is a cool name.
I'm gonna let you guys in behind the curtain on what some of our text chats look like. Recently,
I'm not talking this segment. This is
recently it's usually something from Laquan about some piece of Matthew Stafford news, and he's usually really, really excited. And then it's me and Florio, maybe a couple other people, maybe Hytham Kalani, our producer, shooting holes in that. Maybe not because we believe it, but mostly because we know it's just going to get a response out of Laquan. So Matthew Stafford being back at practice, understandably, got LQ very fired up, and he let us all know about it. And we, as we tend to do, poked him in the ribs a couple times about it. This has nothing to do with me. This is Sean McVay. Sean McVay was asked about the possibility of Stafford starting week 1. And his response was, that is putting the cart way before the horse. This is coming from your head coach, whom you revere and trust with all your heart. Are you worried?
I'm not worried. I'm not worried, and I wholeheartedly believe that he just wants to be very cautious of what comes out of his mouth because he misspoke in the beginning of this crazy saga, and it just caused a media uproar. And of course, 49ers fans are in my DMs and on my TikTok comments, poking holes and doing all this other weird stuff.
We just want to see James Richard Garoppolo starting a game for you.
No, we do not.
That would be the most fun week of the season.
No, it would not, Florio. You are stirring the pot.
Not for you.
Now. Don't do that. I'm getting sweaty when we start talking Jimmy G starting week 1. Do not do that. I do not want to see that ever. I think right now McVay's just being very cautious, and we're going to take it day by day. And we have 2 weeks until kickoff, and I do think that Matthew Stafford will be suited and booted and ready to go because this is the toughest dog in the fight, man. I'm not worried about him saying, my back's a little sore. Like if it was Jared Goff, then it'd be fine. Then you'll be all right. All right, yeah, he's going to bail out.
So I got thoughts on this. One, he's 37 years old. It's not, my back's a little sore. It's like I got issues with my back. It's one thing to be 37 years old with a bad back. It's another thing to be 37 years old with a bad back and you got to run away from Nick Bosa twice a year. Like that's a whole different set of circumstances.
If he's healthy.
Saying? I mean, I get that they're being cautious with him. I understand that, right? And they should. He's their QB1. And you pull that Jenga piece out, I think the whole tower falls apart. I really do.
Yeah.
And that's not even me trying to stir the pot. That's really how I feel about this offense.
What, we should get Anthony Richardson for insurance? For
I was going to say, who scores more fantasy points?
I wasn't going to say anything like that.
Daniel Jones or Matthew Stafford?
I will say this, though.
Matthew Stafford. Stop. Don't do that.
Don't
compare those two.
We can compare Mahomes, but not
Daniel Jones to Patrick Mahomes. Like
fantasy-wise,
let's check
man.
yourself.
Jesus. Come on.
So the other thing of this is, side note to this, you can tell when some guys sort of break through and cross over, because my wife was like scrolling TikToks and she's like, who is Stetson for the Rams? It's like, wow, you know Stetson Bennett? So like that has sort of crossed over for sure. The other part of this, and you sort of touched on it, Laquan, about like the toughness factor, right? And that's the whole thing that's been following Matthew Stafford his whole career, how tough he is. I mean, they even said it a couple weeks ago. Like, if it were a regular season game, we know he'd be pushing to play. Right now, he's willing to sit out. And at what point, though, does that become a detriment? And it's not exclusive to Stafford. We hear it with guys all the time, all around the league. At some point, it makes me think one of two things. Either you're a glory hound and you're just trying to go out there to the point that maybe you really do need to sit down because you're in the team, or the other part is you are terrified of who your backups are. And it's getting to the point, at least with Rams fans, and this whole Stafford's got that dog in him. He's a tough guy. He's not gonna wimp out. Like, at some point, it's like, are you guys doing yourselves and your quarterback more harm than good by pushing this thing out here right now?
Listen, man, coming from a 40 Winers fan, man, that
a 40 Winers fan.
This is how I know he's salty right now.
I don't want to hear. I am salty. Because you guys have to understand. I am fully invested in the Rams and everything that they do, and I believe in the culture. I believe in all the decision making, from Les Snead to freaking Sean McVay to Matthew Stafford being on that field week one. I do think when we talk about the dog in him, he took a lot of bumps and bruises, and Detroit God, I blame Detroit for all these back soreness problems at 37 years old.
That don't make it go away.
But at the end of the day, we know Stafford's going to play if he has broken bones, because we've seen him do this before.
But
this is the 2-year window.
That's my point. Is that a good thing?
The fear for me is that he can play through it. I want my
quarterback to fight.
But a back, like back, it to me is scarier than outside. Achilles is obviously the scariest one in my opinion. But like, a back can linger. A back could just change it. So I guess I'm not really drafting Stafford. It's easy to be like, I'm not going to draft Stafford. You know, like, there's enough quarterbacks out there. You could grab someone else. The receivers is where I think it gets interesting. And Laquan's not going to like this. I have lowered the Rams receivers in my rankings. I took Puka from 5 to 7.
Low?
Which doesn't sound like a... and Devontae is the one I really took a ding on. I have him now in wide receiver 3 territory.
Is it just because him and Jimmy don't get along?
I think if you go from Stafford to Jimmy, you're going to throw the ball less, and I think you can design touches for Puka a lot easier than you can Devontae, because he's the catch and run guy and all that. And I think Laquan would agree with this. Like, Devontae's biggest thing for him right now is the amount of touchdowns he could score in this offense. And if you have Jimmy G, that touchdown total, it goes down a little bit. So I definitely dinged Devontae more, but
as well.
I still think Jimmy is good enough to support 2 wide receivers. Maybe not to the level Stafford could. But I think he can.
They're both in my top 30. Puka's 7. You know, I still got him high, but
it's just I'm literally sitting here trying to have an honest conversation about it, and Laquan is just like it's like we're tearing his fingernails out. It's like we're just torturing him.
I'm just saying right now, let's say week 1 comes along and we get that alert that Matthew Stafford's out. That's going to be a whole episode.
I'm gonna try to FaceTime.
I'm not
Laquan.
showing up. That's not going to be an episode.
Like the moment he shows up on inactives, I'm FaceTiming Laquan. But hey man, what's going on?
No, you will be blocked.
This
season you will be blocked.
He'll be crying in the shower. That's what's gonna be happening. All right, on to a topic that is going to hopefully inspire a lot less angst. I guess not for Bucs fans. Jalen McMillan expected to miss a significant portion of the season as he is dealing with a neck injury. Florio, Emeka Egbuka was already sort of the new hotness in these fantasy streets. I would imagine it's maybe not quite to the moon, but certainly above the clouds for Egbuka now.
Yeah, I have moved him ahead of Chris Godwin in my rankings. I'm not touching Chris Godwin. Look, I know, like, I'm taking Brandon Ayuk in some leagues, but to me, the big difference is like every report we're hearing on Godwin right now is bad and is like, we don't know when he's going to be out there. He's still recovering, all of this. Ibuka has been a big climber for me because early in the summer, I was like, there's so many targets there. I don't think Baker's going to do what he did last year again. I have bumped him all the way up to wide receiver 32 right now. I have him ahead of Zay Flowers, ahead of the 49ers guys, ahead of Chris Olave, ahead of Rashee Rice, just behind like Devontae, Sutton, Adunze, Waddle. So very much so a wide receiver 3 for me. And someone, I don't know if you're going to have to pay that high of a cost. He is definitely climbing right now, but someone that I expect in the next week or two, I'll probably draft a good amount of.
I'm also wondering, because obviously it's easy to say Emeka Ibuka gets a big lift from this. I'm wondering what this means for, say, a Cade Otton, right? Because they did like to spread the ball around, and they were able to support 3 guys in some fashion in that offense. We know Evans is going to get his targets, which, by the way, that might take any doubt out of the does he get 1,000 yards for another season. It's like if it's just him and
I moved Evans all the way up to like wide receiver 13.
Yeah, if it's just Evans and
I would
Ibuka,
draft Evans over Devontae Adams at this point. Just because I feel like
firmly
there
ahead.
is some type of real like concern. Like this isn't Rams LQ talking. Like this is me saying like I would rather have the security and Mike Evans having the touchdowns, the volume, the yards, and etc. And I think Emeka Ibuka is a great like wide receiver 3 target if you're going heavy wide receiver in these drafts, where I've seen him come off the board in the 6th round, and that doesn't look crazy to me, honestly, just based on him getting installed in this offense and J-Mac being out. Unfortunately, he's going to miss some time. And like Florio said, everything we hear about Godwin, his name ain't good in the fantasy streets. I am staying far, far away. And I do think Emeka Ibuka can make a year 1 impact to where we're going to be like flying him up the draft board, next season when Mike Evans rides off into the sunset.
I mean, right now it's kind of a 2-man passing game.
Yeah,
it's Mike Evans, it's Emeka Ibuka, and I guess you'll get some Cade Otton kind of sprinkle in. But I mean, we love narrowly funneled passing games, and this one looks like it's going to be pretty narrowly funneled.
Rank was calling him Double E on Fantasy Live.
Double E.
I was going to go with E3 because he's got 3 E's in his name, and it sounds like a baseball.
Oh, nice.
Like.
Well, but see, you don't want an E3.
No. That's a bad.
I was actually thinking E3 is in like the big video game convention that happens in downtown LA.
He is a name you can call him EA. Like he is a name that you could think of a lot of nicknames for.
There it is. So Emeka Ibuka is a guy who was coming off the board originally in somewhere between rounds 9 through 12. That's probably going to change. Instead, we're going to talk about some guys that we do love, that we know are kind of hanging around that 9 through 12 range. That's coming up after we take a break here on the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. Trying to help you out with your drafts, gives you some guys that maybe you should target, some guys that we love in the middle part of the draft. We spend so much time talking about the first, 2, 3, 4 rounds. But the draft goes on after that. So here's some guys that we like. 9 through 12. Laquan, who's the first one that you got your eye on?
I'm coming around with Travis Etienne because, like, speaking to Mia O'Brien, like, she's been covering the Jaguars for 7 years now, and she's made it very clear in the conversations we had that, what remained the same in fact is that Travis Etienne is the RB1. Like, he's taken all the first team reps, and where he's going in drafts is in that 9th round, and at that point, I like targeting him as like my RB4. Like if I can double tap in round 6, 7, 8, maybe in that running back range, and then I take one off the board in the 1st or 2nd round, the earlier rounds, I feel like him as my RB4, I kind of want to take that upside because we've seen a successful backfield under Liam Cohen. And what if he ends up being a solid type of running back as your RB4? Because when we look at last season, the first 3 games, he was averaging 13 fantasy points per game. And I understand that, he fell off a cliff because that hamstring in week 6 where he went off in the first quarter. But in those first 5 weeks, though, 4 of his 5 games, he was averaging more than 12 fantasy points per game. And then when he returned back from injury, that's when Trevor Mid-Lawrence decided to go exit left with injury. So coming back to a terrible Jags offense under Mac Jones. And that's my boy and all, but when they're bottom of the table in rushing yards per game, 15 points per game, and then they're bottom of the table in total yards per game, what did we actually expect from Travis Etienne out of that backfield when you have Tank Bigsby getting the confidence and taking over that backfield? And obviously the PPR upside is there for Travis Etienne because in his profile, he is the pass catcher. Tank Bigsby, that's not in his profile whatsoever. We didn't see him get targets until Travis Etienne was on the sideline. So when you look at those first couple of weeks, it's 0 targets and receptions from Tank Bigsby. So I'm going to take this value, in these later rounds and try to take a shot at Travis Etienne just being reinforcements for already stacked, running back room if I go running back heavy this weekend for drafts.
Etienne is one of those guys where very much the price is right? Because of where he's going, I'm cool with being in on Etienne. Like in the past when we were talking about Travis Etienne in the fourth round or something like that, I was a little more hesitant. But right now, I'm fine with it. I'm also surprised he hasn't caught more passes because that was the thing he did a lot at Clemson when he and Trevor Lawrence were there together. He caught the ball a lot, and they haven't really used that part of his game so far in the NFL. The last thing about him is that he was sort of swirling around in trade rumors. It seems like those have calmed down. So maybe the Jags are still in on him. Why not? Florio, who do you like in this range right now?
Justin Fields, and you could go back and watch me on Fantasy Live a million times or this podcast a million times, but I'm going to keep talking about him. I think the season upside is clearly there, right? He's one of 3 quarterbacks ever to run for 1,000 yards. The game-to-game upside is there. He has the most rushing yards by a QB ever in a single game. He's coming off of a year where he had career-high metrics, and the change was that they stopped asking him to air it out constantly like the Bears did, and were asking him to make a lot more quick, short layup-type throws, which is what the Lions did, and his new OC and head coach come from the Detroit Lions. So I expect a lot more of that, and I think we could get a career year as a passer. And I keep saying this, and I know it sounds really hot-takey because it's never been done before, or at least not recently, but I think Justin Fields is the only quarterback who, in the range of outcomes, is running for 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns. Lamar could run for 1,000. He's never going to get double-digit touchdowns. It's not how they use him. Jaden, I think, could be on that.
Daniels, I think, could do it.
Yeah. If they allow him to run. Last year, he had 800, so he could do it. But you're paying a third-round price for Jaden. You're getting Fields way later than that. So Fields for me is the ultimate, I'm going to wait on quarterback. I'm going to still get all that upside. And then if I want a QB2, I'll take Jared Goff or someone to be safe and cover my bases.
Jaden might have to do it if they don't sign Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I mean, pay Terry, please.
Pay the man. Man.
Well, Debo don't look as thick paws anymore, and he look kind of fast now. So I'm really on board with this whole Debo Samuel thing that's cooking up right now.
I keep saying it. Debo is better in real football than fantasy football.
And I don't think he's a 1.
He's definitely not a 1.
Terry is your X that you could just throw out there and be
Debo's not. He's not an alpha.
But if Terry on that sideline, man, where Debo's going in drafts, I might be interested, man. There's going to be a lot of design touches for him because they're going to need that pop. Because who else is there?
I'm still operating as if Terry McLaurin's going to get paid before week 1. I haven't moved him in my rankings or anything. Maybe it's a fault on my part, but
each minute that goes by, he just comes down in rankings. I don't see any progress in this type of contract dispute because we've seen him on the sideline talking to the GM, but then nothing happened from that days after. There's no progress in it. So
they're trying to clear the books and get Brian Robinson off so that they could give Terry his money.
Oh yeah.
The other option in this whole scenario is that they don't sign him and the whole offense just regresses. Right?
Yeah, if you're the Commanders, you're we have a franchise quarterback on a rookie deal. We have the top 5 in most cap next year. Just front load a deal. It makes too much sense now. And if anyone deserves it, it's Terry. He's been there through some of the most embarrassing times in your franchise history.
He's been there and he's played well the whole time, regardless of who the quarterback is, regardless of the situation. Just pay the man.
Pay the man.
I'm going to go Dak Prescott because I feel like Dak has been completely undervalued. I feel like it's starting to change, maybe because a lot more people are starting to realize, hey, man, Dak Prescott is still hanging around there. But the fact that he's barely inside the top 12 in quarterbacks, and maybe it's the injury risk, I'm not really sure. But ever since we saw the decline of Ezekiel Elliott, this has become a Dak-centered offense. It really is predicated around throwing the football. And they only went out and added George Pickens in the offseason. Now, there are some concerns about the offensive line. It's not the strength of the team like it had been in the past, but this is a group that's still going to throw the football a lot. And Dak, going after Jared Goff, going after Brock Purdy. I might even take him over Kyler Murray, just because I think there's that upside there because of the way the Cowboy offense is going to operate. We don't love anybody in the backfield except maybe as kind of an upside play. But there's no concern that suddenly this is going to turn into, they're not going to be the Raiders, right? Turning around, handing it to Ashton Genty a bunch of times. They're not going to be the Ravens just running the hell out of the ball. They're going to throw it a lot. And so I think maybe it's recency bias. Maybe it's the injuries that Dak has had over the last few years. But I think where you're getting him, I think there's a lot of upside there. And sort of like you were talking about with Justin Fields, drafting him and then drafting another quarterback that maybe gives you a little bit more of a stable floor. I think Dak kind of fits into that category like that.
I do think Dak is a great pick right now where he's going.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dak is back.
Dak is back. Rain, Dakota Presence. Let's make it rain. I'm going to make it rain.
Jeez, you know all the governments. I got to get my governments up. I know where everybody's from, but I don't know the governments, man.
Oh, see, so like,
addresses that?
I know birthdays, like Kyle Shanahan, he's my birthday twin. So is DK Metcalf. Right. Yeah, like Noah Brown's from Jersey. Like, I know those things off top.
So we can form like Voltron. We'll have all this information down for these guys.
Yes.
Go back around another round of guys we love in rounds 9 through 12. Who you got? Laquan.
Man, so Keenan Allen. Like, a lot of people are like really sour on his name, and I don't know why.
You're
like,
really
he's
trying to start a
going
fight with
beyond
Florio,
the
aren't
10th
you?
round. No, I'm just saying, like, folks are really just down on Keenan Allen. Like, he really wasn't productive last season. Like, I do look at that Bears offense last season and kind of scrap it because we know it was bad, but he still was able to generate over 100 targets. He still was able to have that 3.0 target separation rate where he is still doing what Keenan Allen has done. Now you're putting him in plug and play what he's familiar with. And I've routed off a bunch of stats on the last couple pods about him and Justin Herbert, man. When we look at it, it's a 70% catch rate. And when you look at the 5 games that he had last season that were over 20 fantasy points, man, he still has the juice. It's plug and play here. And it's obvious at this point, if he's going in the 11th round and I can slap him as my wide receiver 4 or 5 or even 5 and 6, God, I want those reinforcements. Like, I'm going to stack my rosters with guys that are proven talent. Guys in that range, we're taking the upside. I mean, guys that like Jaden Higgins, I'm kind of moving off of because I rather Keenan Allen, who's living and breathing there.
I mean, I guess if you're talking about him that deep, sure, I'll take a shot at Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I have no issues with Keenan. Like, when's his birthday?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know. He's not one of my favorite guys, but we'll see. I'll have to look that up.
I see you.
April 27th. I just had it. I pulled it up.
Yeah. I would have been super impressed if you just knew that off.
Just right off.
It's just like,
no, it's on his PREF page. So.
Oh, that's funny. Does he have a weird? He doesn't have a weird nickname on Pro Football.
Alexander is his middle name, though. Keenan Alexander Allen. There you go. Am I right?
You are.
You
correct.
are. And why would, if you're his parents, why Alexander Allen? I feel like that's
there's a lot of alliteration there.
Yeah,
that's a little bit harder.
Does he have a nickname? No, none at all.
No weird nickname on Pro Football Reference.
He's one of those dudes we just call by his first name.
Keenan.
Yeah, everyone knows who you mean.
Keenan.
His nickname could be Lads Alpha. There you go. He's going to be the alpha of that offense.
At 33, you're
pots, man.
Your arms get 33.
Tired.
Yeah, I'm not trying to put up 1,000 yards in the NFL right now.
Do your arms get tired stirring the pot this much? Like, your shoulders got to be just rocked out, huh?
That's Florio stirring the pot every time we talk 49ers Rams. What are you talking about?
I do live for those
instigator
moments.
Now.
Yes. I do live for those moments.
Florio, your name here is one that I actually really do like and I've drafted a lot so far this year.
My second favorite Jaden in the NFL, Blue. Jaden Blue from the Cowboys, because he's fast. He's a really shifty, smooth runner. I think he's one of those running backs that can be a weapon as a receiver out of the backfield, not just someone that you dump the ball off to and be like, run. And then you look at the competition. Yes, the O-line, like Marcus said, isn't the strength of the team anymore, but every team is going to run the ball. And his competition is Javonte Williams, who has not, and I don't mean this as a shot, because I know I was in on Javonte just like you were when he came out, but like
he hasn't. You can't hurt me anymore.
He hasn't been the same guy since he hurt his knee. Like he just hasn't been. And then the Broncos really last year kept him afloat in fantasy by just throwing him the ball a bunch, but he was still 4th lowest in yards per target amongst all running backs. So he wasn't necessarily good at it. He was just getting a lot of opportunity. And then there's Miles Sanders, who hasn't been fantasy relevant in years now. So I think Blue comes in with a legit chance to steal work away. Probably not someone you want to start week 1, but I think as the year goes on, he could get more and more work. And he's so fast and explosive that he doesn't need 20 touches to be valuable. You give him 12 to 15, he could hit a home run on that.
Yeah, Blue's one of those guys you definitely draft and sort of stash for a few weeks and wait because I think the backfield takeover is probably coming. You just have to be patient enough to wait till like the mid to back part of the season for it to happen.
Now, I was talking to Isaiah Stanback. Now, we know he works for the Cowboys and everything. I just had him on the show, on the FTN Fantasy Show this past Saturday on Sirius XM, and he was talking about that backfield where I think we're kind of rating this backfield just based on with Javonte Williams there and Jaden Blue. I think it's going to be more of a hot hand, like who's getting it going. So I don't really look at Jaden Blue as a guy that is worth stashing, but there could be like a watch list situation where we just have to see him emerge out of that backfield as getting the hot hand.
Yeah, I hate hot hand situations.
Man, if that's the approach they're taking, fire him up week 1.
maybe he gets the hot hand week 1.
But he's been banged up in camp. Like I got a chance to see him in Oxnard in person at the Rams and Cowboys joint practice, and he's electric. Like what Florio's saying, like he even has like patience in his running, like not Le'Veon Bell level of like patience in his running, but he's waiting for the holes to develop, and then when he gets to that hole, he is busting upfield, man. So it's crazy. So I do think there's going to be a time like in the middle to late season where that's going to be Blue's backfield.
Nobody was patient like Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell would like just come to a full stop and just like watch.
Just read a book, make a sandwich.
Check his text messages.
You would never teach a kid to play running back the way Le'Veon Bell did. Just
no.
Speaking of running backs, I'm taking one for the whole show here, right? I'm going Cam Scatterboo because we have been a very strong Scatterboo show from the beginning. And at first, it was a little bit concerning because he was dealing with a hamstring injury in camp. He missed the first couple of preseason games, was able to get back on the field yesterday. And there's some small sliver of hope that he may play in the third preseason game. We'll see. They may just be cautious about it and hold him out. But the fact that he's back working again is really exciting. He's a guy that offers a combination of power and the ability to catch the football. I mean, I said it kind of during draft season, and he sort of gives me a little bit of Austin Eckler vibes, at least in terms of how he plays and what he can do.
I think that's a great comp.
Yeah, I think that's sort of where it is. Like, I don't know if he's ever the touchdown, because, Eckler at his peak was a touchdown monster. I don't know if Scatterboo gets to that, but I think he gives you sort of that dual threat ability there. So I very much like him. I think he's another guy who's going to push Tyrone Tracy. I think Tracy will be the RB1 at the start of the year, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see Scatterboo pushing him toward the middle part of the season.
To your point on touchdowns, I think he could be the goal line back because he's just so big. And everyone is always like, he's too slow. People said that about Eckler. People said that about Kyren Williams. Like, he runs the same 40 as Kyren. Like, he's not fast, but he's not too slow either.
Also,
he doesn't fumble like Kyren, though. I just had to put that out there. It's like a reflex. Like people are gonna hear this and be like, "Oh, he's like." I'm just saying, people are gonna hear this and be like, "Oh, he's like Kyren." Like, no, he doesn't drop the ball.
It's like a reflex, man. Somebody says Kyren Williams, you're like, fumble. Like he's just like.
It's like Tourette's at this
Do you like wake up in the middle of the night like Kyren fumble?
Bro, that's how it was a couple months after that Eagles game, bro. Like that's terrifying. It's PTSD, man. Like it's all good though. We got Jarquez Hunter.
Oh man, Jarquez. I mean, look, I got to talk to Jarquez. I got to talk to Blake Corum. Both really good dudes. Jarquez, we were there. We straight up just said he's the best hooper in the running back room.
He was very confident of that.
Yeah, I mean, just no hesitation. Who's the best hooper in the running back room? Me. Like that was it.
Which I love because no athlete. Like I was talking to Stevie Johnson the other day, and I was like, "What do you think you could bowl?" He's like, "What's a perfect game?" That I'm like, the confidence that these athletes have is crazy.
Hey, Isaiah Stanback's a bowler too, man. Me and him are gonna go bowling soon, man. I called him out and challenged him, so he thinks he could roll a perfect game.
Let me know, man.
LQ kind of has that athlete mentality where he's like, "Yeah, I'll beat you in anything."
I mean, he thinks he can fight a kangaroo, so
I know I can. Like, bro, I might
lose.
You
could fight a kangaroo. You're not going to beat a kangaroo.
Depending on the size, we'll see.
All right, man. Let's go. Let's see if we can just go to the LA Zoo and make that happen.
I would. We should sell
Well, they have
tickets for
kangaroos?
this.
No
like,
way.
They got kangaroos at the LA Zoo. Yes, man. It's a zoo. Like,
Bro, Philadelphia Zoo ain't got no kangaroos, man. I'm from the East Coast, man, and I hate the zoo, so I'm not really interested of going there.
Zoos
but
out west are way better than East. I will.
The LA Zoo is dope. The LA Zoo is dope. Plus, you can get
San Diego.
San Diego's next level.
Oh man, I got to get down there. I keep
go to San Diego Zoo. It's next
like,
level. But even the LA Zoo is dope. Yeah, it's cool. Speaking of zoos, we're gonna talk about the Dolphins next. I really don't know what one has to do with the other.
Go.
I was just trying to make an animal analogy.
Speaking of aquariums,
right? Exactly. You got SeaWorld and San Diego. So you go to San Diego Zoo, then you go to SeaWorld, and they got dolphins. We're gonna talk about the Dolphins. They play in Miami. Enough of this tortured analogy. We'll take a break. Come back with more of the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. Of all the teams and all the off seasons, the Miami Dolphins might be having one of the weirdest ones because I think it goes back to the end of last season when you had a frustrated Tyreek Hill at the end of the year basically saying, I'm out of here. I don't want to come back. Then he sort of calmed down and changed his tune a little bit. Then you have Tua Tagovailoa in the preseason saying, we're still trying to work out our connection with me and Tyreek, even though they've been together for 3 years now. Mike McDaniel and what used to be his kind of sort of charming, nerdy shtick seems to be wearing thin. And then, as though things weren't bad enough, Devon Achane is dealing with a calf injury and not practicing this week. So, Michael and Flory, I'm going to ask you a simple question. WTF is going on with the Dolphins?
I'm really excited we're going to have Cam Wolf on this week because that exact question should be the lead off question for us. I don't know. It's kind of become a circus down there. Like, I like Mike McDaniel. I want him to succeed, but like, I don't know. It's going from bad to worse, it feels like down there. And I've been the guy being like, Devon Achane is the only Dolphin I'll draft with confidence. And even that now is getting a little shaky. I have no doubt about the talent that Devon Achane is and the opportunity and all that. Calf scares me because calves tend to lead to that other scary injury. Yeah. And so like anytime I hear calf, it gives me pause.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen Laquan in the last few days, Devon Achane's ADP starting to fall quite a bit because this was a guy we were talking about maybe on that 1-2 turn. I'm seeing him fall to kind of the late part of the second round, maybe even into the third round. Where are you at on Achane at the moment?
Yeah, I'm scared to death for this, man. Like a calf can, we saw that last season with CMC that ended up being Achilles, and he's explosive. So that's where most of his explosiveness comes from his calf and Achilles area. So if we're not going to get that, I can see why his price is kind of coming back. At that point, I'd rather get the not sexy pick that we always put to the curve and to the side, who is my RB6, who is right behind Devon Achane, where I might have to make those adjustments in Josh Jacobs. So I do think you're going to have to pivot off of Achane that high because like drafts this weekend, he's definitely going to be a buzz name. He's going to be a guy that's probably going to still try to go in that early second round and might even be on the back end of that first round, but don't be that victim. I would not be picking up Achane until we hear further news on what this calf is.
You know who we got to talk to? I don't know how we do it, but our pal Scott Porter, who we had on the show a few weeks ago. Oh, yeah. So we talked a lot with Scott Porter about a lot of different players. One of the guys we didn't get to with him on the show was Devon Achane. And as we were wrapping up, we were just kind of talking to him on the way out. He was telling us how much he loves Devon Achane and how he thinks, he's being underdrafted. Obviously, this was a few weeks ago before all this calf stuff popped up. We'd love to get the old Jason Street back on.
Run away, Scott.
See how he's feeling about Devon Achane.
Run away.
Beyond that, I mean, Laquan, is there anybody else that you feel comfortable drafting? I mean, Tyreek Hill's still going high-ish. I mean, not where he did in years past, but Jalen Waddle isn't drawing a lot of interest. Mike McDaniel can't even give anybody a straight answer about Darren Waller. Tua, everybody realize he comes with risk. Is there anybody else besides, because now that we're out on not out, but worried about Achane, anybody else you feel good about with this team?
I still feel confident in Tyreek Hill. I think where he's going in drafts, there's not much risk because more or less he's probably your, wide receiver 2 if you go wide receiver in the first round. I do think that, there's opportunity there for this offense to at least be productive enough where we can still get a fantasy relevant season out of Tyreek Hill. Waddle, I'm kind of like staying away because, again, when you get down to those rounds of where it's like the 5th and 6th round, I like other options there. I like Calvin Ridley over him. I like guys that like Tectero and McMillan. I'll take my chances on that instead of a Waddle because we've seen Waddle underperform week after week with and without Tua. So it's like I do think I'm a little standoffish from the other pass catchers there. Obviously, Darren Waller is not on my list to ever draft. I think he's dropping a mixtape next Friday or something like that. He's funding his music career with this season with the Dolphins. That's all it is. So please run away from Darren Waller. And my uncle, please do not go to your work league this weekend. And why are you in so many leagues that line up on the same weekend as our other drafters, our home league, and you're talking about Darren Waller? Don't ask me. And I know you're listening to the show. Love you.
I love that he just uses this opportunity to put out personal messages. That's cool.
No, seriously, my uncle's been tapped in with us, man. He's been listening, trying to get advice for his work leagues.
Shout out to your uncle. Appreciate that. For real.
Shout out to him.
For real. We appreciate that. I mean, Florian, where are you at on the Dolphins pass catchers at this point?
As out as you can be. Like I don't even consider them in drafts, and maybe that is something that can come back to haunt me. But I'm a big believer. I'd rather be a year early out on a player than a year late. I don't want to be left holding. And I think Tyreek Hill is the most influential wide receiver of his time. Like that's how good I think Tyreek Hill is. He changes the game more than anyone. But speed is the first trait to go. Last year we saw a decline, and it wasn't just him. Like, yes, his metrics all declined across the board, but like the deep ball went to it, like they stopped throwing it down the stretch. But even when they were trying, they weren't having success on it like they were 2 years ago. And then you add on top of that, the entire house of cards just collapses if Tua gets hurt again. And I know you could say that about 31 other offenses. Like if they lose their starting quarterback, it's going to be bad. It's the risk. Everyone knows the risk with the Dolphins and with Tua. It's just heightened. And Tyreek every one of them were averaging single-digit fantasy points per game without Tua last year. So their backup is Zach Wilson. Like there's a world where you're trusting Zach Wilson to get your third-round pick the ball. It's just not one I want to live in. There's a lot of other talented wide receivers in that range. So look, Tyreek could prove me wrong. Tyreek is, again, one of the best to ever lace him up. He's not going to be on my fantasy team.
I don't think I've even, aside from Achane, I don't think I've seriously considered drafting a Dolphin, like at all this year. And I say that as somebody, like last year, I thought last year was going to be a Tua year. Like I was kind of in on that. I think I was trying to stack him with Waddle in a few places. And this year, there's so much chaos. And, when we talk to Cam, one of the things I want to ask him is about how stable is Mike McDaniel's job situation.
That's something I don't think getting enough consideration, because what does the offense look like? Like he is the mastermind of this offense. So if he's gone, what does it look like?
What does it look like? Because I have said, and I will continue to believe, that for him to stay employed as the Dolphins head coach, they not only have to get to the playoffs, I think they have to win a playoff game. Like I think that's it. I think that's the only thing that saves him this year.
Well, if not, he'll be back with the 49ers. I'll tell you that.
Okay, man, fine.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. I mean,
49. It comes out so naturally. I'm sorry.
They balled out when he was there, working with Shanahan.
So you guys can get that spark back.
So fine.
You can clear that 30-year up, drought. We good.
I mean, if this helps distract you from the fact that Jimmy G is going to take meaningful snaps for your offense, then that's fine.
Okay.
I can't even say anything. He just gets all butthurt. Like what?
We're getting a little too dark.
Like,
that's below the belt, because that triggers me, man. That hurts because I don't.
Jimmy G's played in the Super Bowl before.
He's been in a Super Bowl.
Maybe it's still ring season.
Jimmy G has multiple Super Bowl rings. I mean, he didn't necessarily do anything to earn them. So Laquan's going to go, which is a good spot for us to wrap things up for this show. Stay with us. We'll have another show later on this week. We are going to talk to Cam Ward about a whole lot of fun things, including the Dolphins. Maybe get some Travis Hunter updates as well. Should be really exciting. And then we have a weird. I mean, we don't have an off week, but next week's kind of an off week for the NFL. There's no preseason. This is the final week of the preseason. Then there's kind of that dead week, which I don't know, maybe we'll do some mock drafts or we'll figure it out on the fly like we normally do on this show. So anyway, thanks to Josh and Susie for putting up with our nonsense and making us not look and sound like idiots. At least, not beyond anything we can control. That'll do it for this edition of the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. Stay happy, safe, and healthy. Do good and live well. Enjoy the day, everybody. We'll talk to you again real soon.